Referee, whistle, referee. Ha! There we go, lovely. Well done, Villa. Come on, let's go. 3 points in the bag. Let's go. Up the Villa. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Up the Villa podcast. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. You'll help us grow massively. And we are fast approaching 4K subscribers. So if you can just get us over that line this weekend, that will be great. So obviously still buzzing about the weekend's game, beat Man United. It's been a tough one over the years, but you know, I've loved watching the highlights about 600 times, watching watching the goal go in. So it's just fantastic. But as you can see, we've got the main man at the minute, Pete from the Holy Trinity Show. Buzzing to have you back on. So what did you make of Man United away?
No, first of all, cheers, gents. Ryan, Justin, Luke, thanks for having me back on again. The last time we spoke, I was woefully wrong about the Grealish vibes. And that was all washed away on Saturday morning. I have to tell you, there have been fewer, more satisfying moments in my long-suffering Aston Villa, fandom than that. And I have a lot of Manchester United fans in my life, and they remind me every time a game goes by what the result was. So it was very satisfying to be able to shoot them back texts of miss penalty and Bruno Fernandes. But what most importantly from all of it was the performance, because they created 3 big chances in the first half. Yes, they squandered all of them, and that's an issue that has to be fixed. But they stuck with it. They maintained their concentration, and for the first time in what feels like an eternity against the Red Devils, Villa got a break. In fact, they got 2, because you could make the argument about Ollie Watkins on the goal being offside and then Bruno Fernandes missing the penalty. And it was just so glorious, so satisfying, and so important, because as I said on my show, this team needs validation to prove that what they are doing is working. And that was a wonderful way to prove it.
I think you make a key point about the validation and making it obviously work. We saw against Chelsea that we played phenomenally well and lost 3-0. To go to Old Trafford and put in the same level of performance and come on the end of a win, it just sets us up nicely now, doesn't it, for the rest of the season, that this team, if they're trusting Smith and the coaching setup and the instructions that they're being given, that we've no one to fear. We have no one to fear away from home or at home. We can just have that belief and again, belief that we can beat these teams, which is massive. And I think for me, we're starting to look like a team, a real good team all over the pitch. There was in pre-season, at the start of the season, a lot of the questions that we were getting was, who's our best 3? What's our best midfield? And I think as a whole now, it's all starting to come together really, really nicely. And I think all over the pitch, they're starting to complement each other a little bit as well. Ryan, how are you feeling?
Still on cloud 9 like the rest of us. To say a victory against United is rare would be an absolute understatement. I think once I've seen it, once or twice I think I've seen it. So I was just away with the wife in Liverpool, and I was just in a random bar, and I seen the goal go in, and I smashed the table. Come on! And the bar went really quiet, thinking, what's the matter with this guy? But unreal. We were fantastic, start to finish. The chances that we created, unreal. And we were heading into the last 10 minutes 0-0 at Old Trafford, believing and wanting to go on and win that game. What Aston Villa side is this? One that I haven't seen for a long time. So I'm absolutely buzzing. And just touching on your point of Chelsea there, it's shocking really that a 3-0 defeat has given us the confidence and the belief to really believe in ourselves and really have faith in the plan and what we're doing. It's just the positivity and the confidence that come out of that defeat against Chelsea is unreal, really. And that was based on the whole performance. So hopefully we back that up again on Sunday, because I'm buzzing for the game, absolutely buzzing. And it was a superb weekend because the women's team backed it up with a 1-0 win, and then the under-23s, well, they're all bloody 19, 18-year-old, aren't they? They're going to smash Stoke 8-0. So we've had a superb few days at this football club.
I think obviously we started the season a little bit slow, didn't we? And there was that little air of negativity, but the last couple of weeks, everything seems to have like shifted into more of a positive. That we're starting to see some youngsters making their pathway into the first team. So obviously the recruitment of all those youngsters is coming into fruition. We're starting to see the first team come together a little bit. We had a lot of players out injured as well, and they're most of them are back. I just think that buzz is back now. I was on BBC WM this evening, and he asked me like where I felt like we were, and I think we still can sniff around Europe, but I think we're in a bit of a league, aren't we? We're in a mini league from say fourth below of us, Leicester, West Ham, Arsenal, Spurs. I feel like that's where we're competing at the minute. What would you say, Justin?
I totally agree with you, to be honest. I think what's really nice is the emergence of a team now, because we said this, ever since the Grealish saga, he was one-man team, wasn't he? He everything revolved around Jack Grealish. And if I'd have asked any of you last season who was our most important player, everybody would have said Jack Grealish, and they probably would have done for the last 4 years. But if I ask all of you individually now, and I thought of this week, who is the most important player in our team or squad? And I don't think anybody could, comprehensively answer that question anymore, because they're all becoming as important as each other, which shows the involvement of the club and where we are going as a team, as a football club. Every single aspect, every single section of our team, the defence, the midfield, the forwards, they're all as important as each other. And there's key critical players in each of those areas now, which we have evolved and bought well again for probably the third or fourth window in a row. And it bodes well for a sustained attack now on the top half of the Premier League, at least the top half of the Premier League. So I'm totally with you. A real watershed win on Saturday against Man United. It just sets up a bit like he did against Liverpool last year. That we were talking on the group chat this week, and you have to create something so when you go into games against other teams that they look at you, and they may only look, the fans of those clubs may only use the league table to look, oh, we've got Villa coming up. If you're 16th, 17th, they're going, oh, we should beat the Villa. But if you're 7th, 6th, 5th, you go into them clubs and they're thinking, oh, it's a tough game this is. And I would imagine, although it's not probably as like that for the teams you're playing and the managers you're playing against, they wouldn't be that sort of to just take it just on that only. It's so important to be in those areas to bring sort of us up. I'm just buzzing for it, to be honest. I can't believe we are where we are. It's just a joy to be a Villa fan and to watch this team evolve. It's just amazing.
Well, I mean, we're sitting on 10 points. We've played two teams that are currently sitting in the top four. I'd say we just are probably where we should be. I don't think we've overachieved at all at the minute. I think we haven't really got going. And I think as the game's coming up, if we can get through this run of fixtures now with a couple more wins, I think we bang up there. So let's move on to Spurs then. Obviously, they got battered in their derby against Arsenal. And I was watching that game thinking, if this was us playing these today, we would be running riot. I think there was just no cohesion with the whole team. There wasn't a midfielder within 5 yards of another midfielder helping anybody out. Kane looks, well, obviously he doesn't want to be there, does he? There just doesn't look a good vibe there. And I feel like if we go there like we did against United, I don't see anything other than a Villa win. Pete, what are your thoughts?
Well, I have quite a few, and I agree with your assessments there. And it's funny, I've asked a lot of coaches over my life, what would you rather? Would you rather play a team that's coming off a win or one that's coming off a loss? And it's pretty much split down the middle on that. Villa was coming off or Manchester United was coming off that the away win at West Ham, which was a last-minute penalty saved by De Gea. It was very ironic how it all unfolded. Late goal by Lingard, then they win. They had a midweek Champions League wobble in there, I believe. Or no, it was the Carling Cup or Carabao Cup loss. But then the other side of it is you have Spurs, the way they've come off a massive loss, the worst loss that they could imagine. Nuno's odds of being sacked just went way up. And I look at Tottenham as a very vulnerable team for a couple of reasons. Number one is there's only one other team in the Premier League that has conceded more shots from set pieces, and that's 30. So tally that up over 6 games. That's like 5 a game that they've conceded from set pieces. And here comes Aston Villa, now one of the top set piece specialist teams in the league. And that is going to be an interesting story. And then you have Danny Ings, who has been a bit dry of late, as has Ollie Watkins, 2 players who, by the way, have been associated with Spurs either recently or in the past. And Danny Ings has scored 5 goals against Spurs in the last 4 games. So a couple of little side stories to look at there, but you're right. I think Aston Villa right now is on the up. Belief begets more belief. Everybody believes in what the coaching staff is preaching right now, and they're following through. And it's a hardworking athletic side. And that's because suddenly Douglas Luiz looks like post-lockdown Douglas Luiz, and Jacob Ramsey is just athletic. He is able to get all around the park. And what a shame he had to slip in the penalty area when that ball was, because he's still waiting for his first goal. And so I think this is the perfect time to visit Tottenham Hotspur Stadium because there is doubt. And, the one thing about that stat about allowing 30 shots from set pieces, that also tells me that Spurs are giving up a lot of set pieces, which, why is that? Is that because they're a step behind? Is that because they're caught out of position? Why is that? So for me, those are the factors that I'm watching. Some nice sub stories there. Ings and Watkins, can they get into the goal column again? Because the work rate's been amazing. And then let's watch, what does Austin McPhee have up his sleeve this week? Cannot wait.
Oh, I'm buzzing for it. I'm so excited. I'm with you on that as well. I feel like the press is important for Villa on Sunday. If we can press them hard and just not give them an easy start, be in their faces from the first whistle, I'm really feeling a Villa win. I'm pretty confident, to be fair. Ryan?
Yeah, and me. I'm feeling the Villa win. I actually had the same stat as what Pete had.
Sorry, Ryan.
But yeah, I'm all up for it. Can't wait to see what Austin McPhee has got up his sleeve this week. And it's incredible, really. He's come into the club and he's just been so inventive straight away. It's like, why have we been doing this for ages? You know what I mean? It's and there's some cracking moves that have only slightly just missed the target. Ings had one against Everton, and it's just good that we're forward thinking like that now. Obviously Danks has come in as well, and since he's come in, the performances and our style of play, our possession, our controlled attacks, it feels like an instant impact, and we just got it right with the coaching. And very much looking forward to Tottenham. They seem lifeless, don't they? They seem
stale.
But they haven't
I'd say stale.
Stale, pale, soulless. They're walking around with a limp. So, like you say, Luke, if we can go there, get in their faces, high energy, press, and I'm with you as well, Pete, where I think that Ings and Watkins, I'm betting on them both to score. I'm feeling them both getting off, and it's just the little bit that we're missing, isn't it? At the minute, the defense seems spot on, the midfield three are doing it, and it's just, look, they're working hard. They're putting the defense under pressure. It's harder for a back four to play against 2 strikers because they don't know what's going on, especially with the movement, dropping deep, working the channel. So they are working hard, but I think it's time for them to catch in on all their hard work. So looking forward to it.
Justin?
Yeah, I agree with everything you've been saying. It's interesting, really, when you think in the summer that us and Spurs were both, at the mercy of Man City, both looking at each of our star players, and they end up getting ours, but they don't end up getting Kane's. And when the season kicks off, you're thinking, which of those 2 clubs are going to benefit from that happening? And you wouldn't have really put your money on that Tottenham are going to collapse in a heap and we were going to just keep getting better and better. And that's what's happened. So it just shows it doesn't always go against you when you do something like we've had to do. So Kane just doesn't look like he wants to be there, does he? He's going to have to at some point get his act together, because although I'm sure he won't be short of suitors if he did move on next summer, he does want to get some goals and carry on his record and keep his sort of where he is going. So I do think we're going to go there very confident. I think we're going to be on the front foot straight away, like you said, Luke. And I think we've just got to make sure we make them, punish them really for what the position they're in. I think if we start fast, we start well, which we have been doing recently as well. The midfield three are the key for me, because they run and run and run all day long. And if we can just get hold of that midfield early, I do fancy the front two to, like you all say, to get off the mark again and start scoring again on the weekend. So I don't see anything other than a Villa win again. But we all know what football's like, don't we? But I can't do it. Can't be anything other than positive about this weekend. Tottenham are struggling. I know a couple of Spurs fans, and that ground's the second biggest ground in the country now, and they are not happy. They haven't just come off the back of one 3-0 defeat. They've had consecutive 3-0 defeats against London teams now. So they are not a happy fan base. So if we start quickly, we start well, and we get the first goal, they are going to turn quite quickly. They weren't over the moon with Nuno's appointment in the first place. He was about 6th choice, I think, if you believe the press reports. So, they are going to turn quickly. If we can just get off to a good start, I'm really confident we can get the win.
Brilliant. Right, so we'll go to questions and thoughts then of our viewers and listeners. So this one will be for you, Pete. Does House stay in the back three? And another Pete asked the same question, House or Twanzebe? He put House deserves to keep his place, in my opinion. So who deserves to be in the team?
I think it's Courtney Haas, and I've been a big fan of his since last season, and the run-in at the end of the year where he's immense. He and Twanzebe both can close down fast. That's their gifts. They can close down quickly, and it's very rare that they're put in positions where they're sliding in desperation. Although Twanzebe had the one on the 1-0 goal, Lukaku goal, where he did dive in. It's a really difficult decision, but I like a left-footed player on the left side of a back three. And I know Tyrone Mings can play there, and he would if Twanzebe comes in. He plays in the middle usually of that three, and they do rotate around. Konza obviously could play in the middle of those three too, but you saw what Courtney Haas brings to on the set pieces, whereas Axel Twanzebe has not, in my opinion, hit his stride. And Ezri Konza has got to hit the target on one of these chances. He had another one at United in the first half. And for me in the Spurs game, by the way, you guys all said it, Aston Villa's got to cash in on one of these big chances, because they created 3 big chances at United, didn't score any. They created the one at Chelsea, didn't score. It totally changes the complexion of the game if they score first. It would be even better if they had Bailey in the team, because then they could counter. But I think it's Haas. I've always been a fan of his, and that's a tough decision. Dean Smith alluded to it in his press conference today, or at least his interview today, that he's done nothing wrong, and we're really happy for him. And you don't change a side that goes to Old Trafford and wins that way. I just don't think you can.
Yeah.
I think Mings looks better in the middle as well. Do you agree?
Yeah, well, and to have 2 left-footed players is a luxury as well, plus Target on the left-hand side. But Tyrone Mings has completely changed after the 2-0 goal at Chelsea, and credit to him, because he took a lot of flack, but he looks extremely solid. And in the United game, all 3 of them blocks, incredible blocks. Yeah. They got their spacing all right. And that 3 at the back is working really well. Let's see if they stick with that, because the one thing that Aston Villa can do now is they could change things up. They can add new wrinkles. And and the tactical side of things is Villa is figuring all their opponents out. They've been the better team and the better looking team in most of these games. And then there's been moments by really, really good players. So what does Spurs do? And how do they react to Aston Villa, knowing that probably the press is coming? It's going to be really fascinating at this stage of the season, not to mention going into an international break. Can you imagine Spurs losing at home in front of a big crowd on the run they've been on? Maybe they were kind of flattered in those first 3 games a little bit too. It was a good win against City, but not convincing. That would be a horrible way. So they're going to come out flying. They're going to come out hammer and tongs, and Villa needs to react to that.
Definitely.
How good is it, though, that we're in this situation where House has come in off the bench, performed 2 games, rock solid, scored the winner. Now, Twan Xavier can't get in. He's going to have to bide his time and wait. And we've got so many options like that around the field, isn't there? Like, if Sanson was fit as well, he'd be chomping at the bit. Buendia, Traore, they're all going to be chomping to get in this side. And when they get their opportunity to play, they're going to want to take it and grab that shirt. So we're in such a good place with the squad at the minute.
And another good point is that how many of our players do we make as signings that are now developing into better players the minute they step foot in the football club? House again, another one. Most Villa fans are like, we don't want him in the team, but now he comes in and he's fantastic. You know, the coaching that we're doing is tremendous. Trezeguet, a better player. Matt Target, a better player. The longer that they're at the club, the coaching's it goes under the radar for me. No one ever mentions the development of these players that we've seen season on season.
I think you go, yeah, you remember we paid £3 million for Courtney Hawes. You know, I think Wolves, looking the way they do now at the back, they'll be very disappointed they let him go for £3 million.
Yeah. Fantastic. So Ryan's put, I think we'll do well. So hard to read what Spurs will show up. But for me personally, I think it's a good time to play them, especially after the Man U win and especially after their Derby Day loss. Englishman has put Villa to win 5-1. Justin, have you got a burner phone? Is that you on a burner?
It's my other account.
He's on a burner. AV has put same 11 formation as Saturday. Back three will force Kane to drop deep. Dougie and Co will nullify his Smith threat further. Cash and Tiggs provide attacking threat down both sides. Also, recovery when need to sit in and make a back five. Ings and Ollie to press allows the team to play 10 yards further upfield. Don't know whether that's Dino that's put that one in, but that's pretty spot on. Matt King has put expecting a huge bounce back for Spurs who will fancy themselves. Do you think their attacking intent might play into our hands and we'll be able to counter? Ryan?
Yeah, possibly. Kane likes to drop deep, as we know now. But you've got to watch out for Son, haven't you? Because he likes to make them diagonal runs. But like I say, free at the back, it sort of nullifies that, doesn't it? So, be an interesting encounter. Let's see if Nuno tries it, switch it up a bit to counter our new formation.
He-Man has put, with the spate of injuries and African Cup of Nations in January, can you see a couple of incomings in the next window? So is that sort of Nakamba, Traore and Bailey? Does anyone know when that African Cup of Nations is?
January.
No,
maybe going away.
It wouldn't be Bailey, would it? I don't. Bailey's
Bailey, Jamaica, but
Jamaica, so he wouldn't be gone.
Jamaica has also a very taxing. Like it's three games per international window, and it doesn't look like he's going for this one. But that is a concern. I actually think right now it's more likely that there'll be kids ready. Like I think Jaden Philogene-Badace may actually be one of Aston Villa's most informed players, and he had to sit and watch in the stands at Old Trafford. Whereas I think he causes major problems and is really probably pushing, whether it's El Ghazi or Wendy. I mean, he is a legitimate concern. And, by the time January rolls around, here's a chance for he or Cameron Archer or, there's so many now that it feels like that are knocking on the door. So I'm not as concerned now about the AFCON as I was before. And the one thing I would say about Traore, which is really frustrating, is that he just seems like he's very brittle.
Yeah. I think it's something that these players that are all disappearing off of international duty have really got to be careful of, because they're leaving behind, like you're saying, a lot of very, very capable players that can take their positions. I think Buendia won't be that upset, that he hasn't been called up for Argentina this time, because he gets to stay behind, train a bit extra with the team, and he's fully available now for all the games. So it's, we're in a very good position.
It is a slight worry, Martinez missing Wolves and maybe Arsenal. I
don't think it's going to go on for much longer, though. I think that there is going to have to be some kind of give and take with the these rules and regulations about it, coming back and not being available. I think a lot of clubs are now in very deep negotiations with the government trying to sort. Because I know Wolves are missing Jimenez, aren't they? And I think they're going to be knocking on the door saying, "How can we sort this out?" So I don't see it going on for that much longer, especially into the new year once we're over sort of the Christmas and colder periods. Hopefully, they can relax it a bit more.
Yeah, they're saying 5 days. They're trying to get it down to 5 days.
Yeah.
But I mean, imagine Emmy Martinez showing up at 2:30 in the morning at Birmingham Airport and then playing later that day. Like, that is not ideal. He did well in the end, but it is that is a major worry for me. And
I do trust Jed Steer, though.
I like Jed Steer. Didn't like him at Chelsea.
My only worry with the goalkeeper situation is if something happened to Steer, we are then incredibly light then in that position.
Yeah, so we've got a couple more. Wayne has put, I think Ings and Ollie will rip the Spurs back line to shreds if we go 3-5-2 again. Same starting lineup as Old Trafford. And Villa fan has put, Spurs really struggled when Arsenal pressed them hard early on and crumbled. If we have the same fast start and keep a high interest with early on, 3 points are there for the taking. So I think all four of us on the screen, very, very positive, optimistic about this one. It's great, obviously, that we were able to beat United. It was brilliant to get one over. So what we'll do is we'll go round and we'll have our score predictions. So I'm going to be at the game. So I'm going to go for 3-1 Villa. Pete?
I think they're going to repeat the 2-1 that they did last year, and I think they'll get 2 goals. They'll get a first half goal, which they haven't done yet, away. They'll get a first half goal, take the lead, take a 2-0 lead, and then it'll be a bit helter-skelter hanging on for 2-1.
Cool. Ryan?
Well, I've already mentioned that Watkins and Ings are netting. So there's 2-0, 2-1, and then they'll be coming at us and we'll get them on the counter. 3-1. I'm going the same as you, mate.
Listen, right, Justin, come on then. How many?
I'm just going to go for a solid. I think we'll get another clean sheet because I think that back five are really good now. And I tell you what, I think the key men are going to be the wing backs because they've just improved every single game. They're really, really flying in this formation now. And you saw at Man United, the cash cross to target. I see that happening more and more now. So I'm going for a 2-0 win.
Brilliant. So thanks for watching. Pete, legend for coming on.
Anytime.
Your content is remarkable. Do you know what I mean? It's really good. And we all love watching you. And thanks for coming on our channel.
My pleasure, guys. I love chatting with you. I love hearing your voices and I love watching as well.
Cool. Up the Villa, everyone.
So,
Up the Villa.